How's everybody? It's Mike and Avenue with Mike's Minutes, trying to get this camera position to optimize the visual. Ooh, scary. Hey everybody, just wanted to share some thoughts again along this journey we're taking in terms of characteristics that we need to get rid of if we want to be high achievers. So today we're going to talk about learned helplessness, also known as Woe Is Me. All right, so here's the quote from Brianna Wiest. Learned helplessness is when people have faced so many challenges in their lives that they begin to believe they are powerless in the face of their external circumstances, and therefore they just stop trying to change them. Relearning that you are in control of more of your life than you're not is imperative to moving it forward. Okay, so that's this stuff for me is very personal. I struggle with some of these things. That's why I really picked this series, is because these are things I know I struggle with, and I know a lot of people that do struggle with some of these characteristics that keep us from being the person we were designed to be. Oftentimes these self-imposed limitations that we create are things that are just a constant battle. We listen to tapes, we review, we read, we affirm, we do all these things, but yet we still struggle with these dark sides of our personality. I know I do. It's easy for me to go to that darker place. It's just, part of the culture I grew up in. It's just part of what, was the norm. So as I go through this, understand that, this is personal stuff, so I may interject I more than you or we, because it is, something that I know I struggle with. So I can't tell you the number of times I've said these things like, if it was going to happen, it was going to happen to me. Or, from the family side, well, I knew if it was going to happen to anybody, it was going to happen to us. That's just the way it goes with us. If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen to us. That's just the way it goes. And, these things are never said with any possibility of the positive. It always comes from a place of negativity. There is no other side to it. It is all that we see, is that woe is me statement. And it's one of those things that it's easy, it's easier on us, we think, when we can blame something or someone outside of ourselves for the situation that we find ourselves in. It is never any thought given to the idea that maybe, just maybe, that the things that I feel helpless about are actually coming to me because of the thoughts that I have, because of the actions or inactions that I'm taking or not taking. We don't want to go there. We want to keep it out there as something out there. It was not something out there, but something in here, right? In us. My thoughts and my actions or lack of actions have put me in the right place at the right time to receive what I have always gotten. Wow, I'll say that again. My thoughts and my actions or lack of actions have put me in the right place at the right time to get what I have always gotten. So, if you stay in the pattern, guess what you're going to keep getting? It's going to keep coming to you based on your actions or inactivities, based on how you think, based on how you see things, and you're seeing all of these things through this prism of negative, of something out there. It's that I don't want to take accountability. It's something out there in the ether, that's causing all this problem, just picking on me all the time, just picking me out for all the bad stuff that could ever happen to anybody. That's the way it works, right? So we have to be careful with all this stuff. It says, because it's taking away control. All of that's doing is taking away your control about, in regards to your life and where it's going to go. It takes away our personal responsibility and our accountability. And it throws it again out there, not on me, it's out there. So it's the blame. It's that, it's this, it's that person, it's government, it's the Democrats, it's the Republicans, it's the independents, it's the Russians, it's the Europe. We can go on and on blaming, how many things right now in our country are we blaming? Hey, Linda, how many things are we blaming? We just blame. You can blame all the time. All right, this line of thinking allowed me and allows us to look outside of ourselves for the blame. I don't have to take responsibility for what's happening in my life because it's just that dark cloud. That dark cloud that's always around. Hey, Luann, it's just that ongoing darkness, that just hangs over me. It's bad luck. It was the things that always seemed, Jim Rohn's had this thing, he was talking with this person and this person was asking him, why this, why that, why they say, and Jim Rohn says, well, it just seems like those things always happen to people like you. Well, and that's because of our thoughts, our actions, it always seems to happen to people like that, those negative things. So this is something we have to deal with. We have to understand that this way of thinking is self-delusion. It is self-deception. And it's all done in order to avoid some of the things we've been talking about in this series. These things that we use to avoid taking responsibility and accountability for where we find ourselves at this particular time in our life. It's not taking responsibility for those things that we keep getting, and it's time, at some point, and this is, like I said, this is an ongoing thing. For me, it's an ongoing thing. It's a constant battle between wanting to deny my personal responsibility and accountability and to throw blame, or to just say this is just how it happens with me, or this is just how it happens with our family. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen to us, right? So, we have to, at some point, kick that kind of thinking to the curb. For me, it's kicking it over and over again. It just is. And I try in our work, I do certain things to get my head in the game. And this is the thing, you are where you're at today because of the daily, or better yet, the minute-by-minute decisions or indecisions that you are currently making or have not made. You have to understand that. Don't allow yourself to get complacent in your life or your career. And I make that statement because I know of which I speak. When it's so easy for us that when we are at the top of our game, we've like for me with personal training, it was just a given that it was always going to be there. It's something I loved, enjoyed, and I was good at. But what happens is if you get complacent, you think, well, I really don't need to take that continuing education stuff. I don't need to worry about keeping my certification current. I've got a master's degree. I got all these credentials. I got X number of years. And we have to understand that the things that will take us to the top, whether that be personally, professionally, fitness, health, family, spiritually, all of those things, the actions and the things that got us to where we felt, man, we are just in the zone in these areas. And everything is going great. And everything looks really good. And it's easy to get complacent and say, oh, I don't need to do those things that got me there. I've done that, been there, done that, I got it. And the next thing you know is that the very profession that you were the top at, or the area in your life that you were once at the top, you now find yourself slipping down. And all of a sudden you go, wow, I can't even get back into profession. I don't care what I've done in the past. They've moved on past me, and you get kicked to the curb. Well, it's so easy to take for granted these things. It's easy to take for granted that the thoughts that I have and the actions that I'm taking today are going to have a direct impact on where I'm going to be and what's going to happen in my life. We can take those challenges and we can wallow in the challenges, or we can take the challenges and say, okay, this is where I'm at, but I don't want to stay here. I'm going to make the change. What were the things that you did before that got you to the top, that got you out of the rut, that got you out of the darkness and into the light? What were those things? What were those thoughts that were coming in your head? What were the actions that you were taking? What were the things that you were kicking to the curb because you knew they stood in the way of you getting to your personal best? If you're going to stay at the top, you have to sacrifice. You have to continue to sacrifice and do those things that are necessary that got you there in the beginning. You cannot. It's like that. What's the saying? If you're not growing, you're dying. If your business is not growing, it's dying. It's no middle ground. You're either growing or you're dying, and that's the way it is in everything. So we have to make sure until the day that we take our last breath, it is our responsibility to continue to strive for our personal best. And and if we don't, what's going to happen is that you're going to wake up one morning and you're going to look at your life and you're going to say those words that are so easy to say when you don't take responsibility and you don't hold yourself accountable and you're not continually striving to be your personal best, because those around you deserve your personal best. Those at your work, at your church, at your business, they deserve they deserve your personal best. So we don't want to wake up one morning and say those words that say, oh, woe is me. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen to me. That is a defeatist attitude, and it will never get you to your personal best. It will never get you to be the person that you were created to be. And that all the people in your circle of influence deserve to have. And remember that as we're lifting ourselves up out of that dark place, because I know we face those things, right? As we're lifting ourselves out of that dark place, it's important that we bring someone along with us. Reach out to that person that you know is having the same struggles you're having, that's going through a difficult time, that faces challenges, and as you lift yourself out of that woe is me attitude, make sure you bring someone else with you. All right? Serve someone else every time. This works every time. And one of the things that if you find yourself in this learned helplessness, you find yourself in this woe is me, oh woe is me attitude, the absolute best thing you can do to get yourself out of it and to start the climb back up is to reach out in service with no expectation of return and lift somebody else up, serve somebody else, be a blessing to somebody else. And I guarantee you, this helplessness stuff will disappear. This oh woe is me attitude will disappear, and you will have an outlook of reaching for your personal best. All right, folks, that's it for today. I hope you got some of these words meant something to you. I hope you get a benefit from it. Please take the time to share with someone you know that may need your encouragement, that may need your words of positive, uplifting messages. All right? Reach out to somebody today. Thank y'all for tuning in, taking your valuable time for another Mike's Minutes. We'll be back again soon with more. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.